This conference will now be recorded.
Everybody heard you have to sign up if you want to talk. Sign up sheet up here. Give me your last chance.
Okay, it is now 7 o'clock, and I would like to call this public hearing for the mayor and council of Boonesborough to order. This is for ordinance 2026-02. This ordinance is to regulate the operation of electric bicycles, electric scooters, and electric personal mobility devices on public walkways, paths, footpaths, and pedestrian zones within the town of Boonesborough, Maryland. Ray, if you want to grab the sheet for e-bikes. Did you plan on speaking, sir? Okay. Who is listed first, sir?
Okay. Matthew, is it Rusty?
Yep.
Okay, please come up, state your name, address, and we have 3 minutes to speak.
Yeah, turn it around towards you, please, and then state your name and your address, and we will have you on timer for 3 minutes. Sir.
My name's Matthew Agresti. I live 105 Tiger Way. I just want to speak about the new e-bike thing. I kind of like the idea, especially fixing the old 0803 law. I just think, I agree with the message of it. I just think it's kind of swing and miss on how it's written. Starting the definitions, it kind of misses a lot of electronically powered things, especially think people would, be riding on sidewalks. A lot of different things, different categories, and Maryland defines things differently, so we probably want to be a bit more specific about classifications of things, especially if we're deferring to Maryland law on that. High-speed e-moto, completely agree with that stuff. Other stuff, though, I do have a couple issues. I just wanted to say, speed limit, 6 miles an hour, flow low, whatever. Don't really care that much. Mandatory adult supervision for anything. Middle schooler going to the gas station, like handy your stuff, or going down the street to his friend's house. Can we just not make that illegal? Little extreme there, especially got with 16. I know it's targeting, but I think it's a miss there. Absolute pedestrian priority, good writing, and then the rest of it just feels like it's kind of begging for malicious compliance. Especially, it cites, reckless behavior later on, but, it writes specifically behaviors that they want and don't want. Those will, audible passing requirement, horns. You're one $25 ticket away from someone rolling around the park with an air horn. Meets the law, annoying as heck, I don't want it. And the second thing, distraction prohibition. Again, I don't want to ban people from, having fun with headphones on. I get you don't want the, oh, I didn't hear you defense, someone scooting away, especially if you're trying to enforce them, acting recklessly. But there's a better way to write that to eliminate that defense. And, come on, you can't go down the sidewalk with your headphones on. You're banning Back to the Future opening scene. Come on. Silly. I think you can write a bit better. But after that, e-motorbikes, everything, I like it. Pretty solid, but yeah, those are my issues. I just think it'd be better written, especially with closing a couple gaps on, there's just a lot of electric vehicles that just aren't included. I don't know if you want it to be as laser focused with that, but it is. And just some of the behaviors need to be written a bit better, in my opinion. That's all.
I thank you for your time and for your comments. Ray, who do you have next?
Okay, public hearing?
That's it.
That's
All
it?
we got to go.
Yeah, that's covered. Public hearing.
Okay.
Do we have to close the public hearing?
Probably should summarize, it was introduced in the last meeting. The only thing that was changed since the last meeting was the addition of the fines. They had been omitted in the original version. So the section that was amended was 3, items 2 and 4, and then there was a typo right before section 3 that was also corrected. Everything else is the same as it was when we introduced it in the last meeting. And I guess just does the council have any questions about the ordinance?
chief want to comment about the comments we just heard? Like definitions or, I thought we were kind of clear on definitions, so I guess I missed something.
I mean, I know there's a lot of things out there. I mean, I think we've addressed what we needed to address, where we needed to address it, especially where pertain to the park and areas like that. As far as earbuds and headphones, I mean, that's a safety issue. You know, it's a safety issue for the person, even walking or running should not have those ears on. It's just almost common sense that if somebody's coming up to attack you, you would want to have be able to hear the person coming. So, I mean, I've taught self-defense classes for the last 30 years, and that's the one thing I harp on with children and women and even men. You don't want to have both ears covered. It's a safety issue. You don't hear anything but the music blaring in your ears, and somebody grabs you or something. It's just, yeah, you know, you want to talk about the world we live in, that's the world we live in. I mean, you know, where safety is a concern. And, you know, I taught my kids that, I taught my wife that, I teach people that again in group settings. So, that's a hill I'm willing to die on as far as that goes, so.
Yeah, so, there's been a lot going on with e-bikes and e-scooters and devices other than what we were used to. We all grew up because we're all a little bit older. New generations are obviously coming up, but we do need to keep our streets and our parks safe for the walking pedestrians as well as those wanting to have that mode of transportation with the scooters and personal mobility devices. So this was a chance to speak out. We had one resident that wanted to speak out. We heard that one individual. I don't know of any type of electric scooter that we missed on this ordinance, but it was mentioned that there was others that could be included. I'm not sure what that would be, so.
I have a question about the electric scooters and stuff.
Okay, did you sign up to speak?
No, I didn't, I could.
Okay. We have rules, and I wish we could follow those rules, so.
Oh.
We're not taking public comments from the gallery.
Oh, like, I'm ignorant here. Can I sign up now?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah, have her sign up. Sign up. Public hearing.
Where do I sign up? Jerry.
Have a seat at the desk, state your name and address. You'll have a 3-minute comment.
Oh. My name is Sherry Lazarus, I live in Williamsboro, and I live on Schoolhouse Court.
Okay.
One thing I've noticed is there is a woman with a child who rides on the electric, with a bike or scooter, whatever it is, every day. And I think that should be prohibited because it's a young child. And, you know, she could get hit, she could turn on or flip or whatever. So I wanted to see if maybe that could be added, that, you know, no extra riders, you know, that kind of situation.
Ma'am, she's actually in compliance, as long as the child has a handlebar and a seat of its own.
Really?
We've addressed this for 2 years with her, and she's into, we get quite a few calls. It is scary, I agree.
It's horrifying because, I mean, even people that are walking down the street there.
Yeah.
Fall and get hit and this and that.
Yeah.
But, okay, so
She's in compliance with the laws, and she rides on the shoulder of the road, and she goes to and fro, work, to
she
and fro.
rides right, no, she rides right down the middle of the road. And there's another kid
Center
following
Street.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, she,
Center
her
Street.
older child rides a bike and follows her. I mean,
It
her
is what-
scooter has a second seat with a handlebar attachment, and that's what.
The child stands on the bar in front of her and holds on to the handles.
Rob, there's a seat there, right, Rob?
And put pedals her feet.
Right.
Because she used to have it on the back. There was no door pedals or then put on. That got stopped. the one sitting in front, it has a seat. And it does have a clipboard, so it's not against the wall. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but there's another.
That's what Dr. Ross said. Okay, well, God forbid something happens to him. Thank you for letting us hear. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, all right, so,
Anybody else?
yeah. If we have no other comments, during the public hearing for ordinance 2026-02, this ordinance was introduced last month. Today was the public hearing, and we will close the public hearing and we will begin regular meeting. Yes, we have a motion.
I will make a motion to close the public hearing. on the ordinance.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, all right, the public hearing is now over and we will move on to our regular agenda. And put this on my screen here. I would like to ask everybody to stand and we will do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow your heads for a moment of silent prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless our community. We ask that you bless our leaders. We ask that you bless our public servants and our EMS, fire, and police departments. We ask that we go into this deliberation with your thoughts in mind, top in mind, so that we can deliberate in a meaningful way. We ask all this in your name. Pray. Thank you, our Lord. All right. So we would like to do the first thing on the agenda, which is to review and approve the July minute meetings. We sent out the draft minute meetings earlier. Have you had a chance to review those minutes? I know Mary Lee and I spoke offline for a few minutes here. There was one little typo.
Thank you, Jesse, for doing that.
problem.
Yeah, it was only the word second was misspelled.
Gotcha.
Is there any other corrections or changes or additions? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as
Aye.
amended?
We'll make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from July 13th. So, for second, get right.
I'll second it.
Okay, and we have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. We will move on to the next item of business, which is the treasury report. And with the treasury report, that'll be me. 1 second here. No, that's okay. All right, so the treasury report. The general fund for the end of July had a balance of $1,153,190.73. Collected $423,658.62 for real estate tax payments. We received $2,917.25 in local share taxes. We received $41,670.80 from Washington County for the Chase 6 reimbursement project. We paid Dell Marketing $16,900.65 for new police vehicle computers, docking stations, and mounts. And we also paid $2,000 to Baycom Inc. for new cruiser printers. We paid Aero Consulting $3,294 for MS4 services, and we paid CPJ Associates $6,426 for Chase 6 Campus Avenue engineering services. And we also paid OpenGov.Inc. $5,460 for renewal of tax processing software subscription. We also earned $2,861.91 in interest for the month. Our restricted fund account had a negative balance of $329,013.63. The only action in that account for the month was interest earned of $845.53. Our First United Bank account, our reserve account, had an ending balance of $4,840,518.33. And the only activity in that month, yes, was interest earned at $15,211.65. And I did want to note that to date, since we opened up that account with First United in our reserves, we've earned just under $100,000 in interest a month. I believe we opened that account in November of 2025, if I remember correctly. We have one CD deposit at Middletown Valley Bank that had an ending balance of $59,889.43, and it had interest earnings of $157.10. The water fund had an ending balance of $587,456.06. We received $483,296.15 for water, sewer, and sanitation collections. Of that, water collection was $181,906.21. Sewer collections was $263,898.74, and sanitation collection was $37,491.20. We paid WRA $2,203.78 for Crestview bypass services, and we transferred $10,000 from the water account to the water user fee account for ongoing services. We had interest earned for the month of $1,106.47. The water fund restricted account had an ending balance of $1,277,043.82. We did receive that $1 million from the EPA for the reservoir replacement funding. That was a long time, long wait, but it's finally in the bank. We did transfer $156,850.46 to the water fund to pay the Mid-Atlantic Utilities Pay App 1 for the Potomac Street Line project that's ongoing currently. And we transferred $483,246.78 to the water fund to pay HRI Pay App 2 for the Crestview bypass water line project. We also earned for the month $4,315.49 in interest. The American Rescue Plan restricted account had an ending balance of $452,222.02. We paid Aero Consulting $16,880.23 for services ongoing at the reservoir project. We paid HRI $37,534.50 for Pay App 15 for ongoing work at the reservoir project, and we paid WRA $4,767.70 for ongoing work at the reservoir. We paid Xylam Dewatering Solutions $6,044 for a pump rental to fill the new reservoir, and we earned $1,341.15 interest. The sewer fund had an ending balance of $145,925.33. We paid $22,148.19 to Synagro Technology for biosolids removal. And we paid $25,308.39 to the Bay Restoration Fee, which is the monthly or quarterly fee that we pay, collect every quarter from our residents. It's just a transfer. We also earned interest for the month of $664.64. The sewer fund restricted account had an ending balance of $491,980.30, and the only action that occurred in that account for the month was interest earned of $1,264.32. I do believe that is all. Any questions? If we have no questions, do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented?
Second.
So I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will move on to the public comment section of this meeting, and Councilmember Hanson, I think you have a list for us.
Would anyone else like to sign up at this time? Last call. Okay. Peter Anderson, welcome. Please have a seat, tell us your name and your address.
Have a seat, and you'll have 3 minutes to give us your comments, sir. Thank you.
All right. My name is Peter Anderson. I live at 19709 Roxbury Road in Boonesboro, Maryland. So as some of you know, I own two separate businesses here in Boonesboro. I've experienced several thefts at my businesses, and the Boonesboro Town Police have done exceptional work many times with the use of cameras to solve almost all these cases. Therefore, I'm in favor of the use of cameras by law enforcement. Anytime you give law enforcement more tools and or latitude, you expect them to use those tools responsibly and within the confines of the law. Responsibility for ensuring that will ultimately be the job of Chief Reiser. I worked in public safety for 22 years as a K-9 commander for the State of Maryland's Division of Corrections. As such, I worked with Chief Reiser for many years. I have served with no one with more integrity or that I have more faith in to do the right thing every time. We're lucky to have him in Boonesboro. Everyone I know has had a credit card compromised or bank account hacked. We're all under constant surveillance through our cell phones, our internet activity, social media sites, OnStar, and the list goes on and on and on. The criminals have exceptional high-tech tools, all poised or actively used to do us harm. Anytime we can give law enforcement tools to help level the playing field, I'm all for it. I'm not threatened by these cameras, partly because I have nothing to hide. Partly because I know that law enforcement has better things to do than go on fishing expeditions. And partly because I know that anybody who spends time monitoring my activities is going to be bored out of their skull. I will close by saying it is better to plan and prepare for worst case scenarios before they happen rather than be reactionary. Thank God I live in Boonesboro, a very low crime area. But suppose your daughter or granddaughter is abducted. Would you like law enforcement to, in the absence of all other evidence, be able to generate credible leads within minutes, greatly increasing the likelihood of a recovery? Or would you prefer to resort to old technology and rely on milk cartons to find your daughter?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right.
Travis Reiner.
You have a seat, state your name and address, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Travis Reiner, 141 Monument. And lots of friends in this room on this platform, and all of us are neighbors, so thank you for the time to come to speak. I have a few notes. Just want to talk about the difference between public safety and the illusion of public safety. I understand why the camera systems like Flock are appealing, helping to recover stolen property like this gentleman had, or help to identify somebody involved in a serious crime. All that's useful. Totally get the complete picture as far as the use of these cameras and why they're appealing. Where I draw the line, or what bothers me about it, is just the broad surveillance coming to default in our society. You mentioned cell phones. I think you have the ability to not use a cell phone if you don't want to use it. Leave it at home. You don't have to be tracked on your cell phone. You can go without it, and yeah, if somebody wanted to access the data on your cell phone, then you need a warrant to do so under the investigation of the crime. These cameras, these surveillance cameras, are always on, collecting unique vehicles 24/7. You do not have the ability to evade these cameras or to not be seen by these cameras. So I'm against broad public surveillance becoming every day in our society. So My concern is pretty simple here, that in a free society, government should have a reason to investigate someone before it starts tracking them. And we shouldn't collect information on everybody first under the position that we might need it one day. If a crime happens, we'll have all this data to pull from. I think when there's a reason to investigate someone, they should be investigated using a warrant when one is required. But recording the movements of ordinary law-abiding citizens, just because we have the technology to do it, I disagree with fundamentally. I'm a libertarian. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Fourth Amendment, and I'm just fundamentally against it. And what's that?
20 seconds left.
20 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we're going to spend over, let's call it 6 figures plus on camera systems, when we have sidewalks that you can fall in, talk about public safety, that's the real definition of public safety versus the illusion of public safety from camera systems. Is that 3 minutes? Thank you all. Have a good night.
Adding encore performers. Sign up for a question, right?
You do for
Matthew Presley, 105 Tiger Way. Hello again.
Yep.
I wasn't going to talk so much about the cameras. I'm guessing we're not going to be getting rid of them this time. But as far as that goes, what he said. As far as other things, I just had a couple concerns, especially about and questions about Axon and how things work. Things seemed a little odd, especially looking at, I tried finding as much as I could about user license agreements regarding the data. I do data. I used to do it for the Department of Energy. Now I do it for the VA. And it's always a point of concern. You'd be surprised how much you can learn about people and everything. With limited sets, I tracked just about every drop of crude oil that entered the country for a period of 7 years. That was my job. But, I see things, and I see things that are a little odd. Like for instance, the Axon deal. After 5 years, we get to own cameras. Will they let us use those cameras without buying their service, or are we software locked into that? The MTA says if they program those things so where we can only use those with their service, with their data storage, then we might as well not own the cameras as a town, because we're just going to be paying for the service every year. The advantage kind of evaporates there. If we're going to have the surveillance, we might as well be saving money. So good on that for finding a cheaper one. I'd rather save money a little bit differently in terms of just not having them. But there are other things where I had some questions in terms of looking at other people. We got PG County. We got our own town thing. Saying, well, it doesn't track people, it doesn't do face ID. And sure doesn't do face ID, but I don't need to track someone's face to identify a subject. And this is all probably planned features in the future as they gather data. But I know PG County can identify weapons using their cameras. Not sure how they do that. If they can't identify a tracked subject, they probably can't identify with face ID. But if I know what I'm wearing as shirt, pants, and general height, I know I'm only 5% of the population at any given time. I can track my moves, I know what car I got out of. It's stuff like that where it just builds quickly. It's a little concerning. But even so, I don't necessarily think RPD would do anything wrong. No one strikes me as a bad person. The issue I sort of have is when it comes to really data ownership and user license agreements, right? So I don't know about Axon. I couldn't find theirs, but I know Flock, they reserve the right to use your data that we'd be recording and everything to train their models, which means that they have some amount of usage there. I don't know if, these user license agreements now, they can change unilaterally. I don't know if they're going to change. I don't know the exact terminology there, but it gets a little sketchy. And even when it comes to, let's say it leaks, they say they haven't had a data breach. The saying nowadays is they haven't had a data breach yet. And a lot of these cameras, they're not exactly the most secure things, even if they're, they're cloud servers that we might have to pay every year for. If they get breached, it's, the camera itself is breached.
Thank you very much.
Here we go.
you, sir. Please state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes.
David Bell, 22 St. Paul Street. I want to begin by saying I appreciate the work of the Boonsboro Police Department and conditionally support giving our officers effective tools to keep the community safe. My comments are not about the dedication of the officers. They're more about a broader public policy surrounding surveillance technology and the role our community should have in shaping it. The decision before you is about the future direction of surveillance. During the June 9, 2025 council meeting, the police chief described a vision that extended well beyond the license plate readers. He discussed expanding the town camera network with 7 flock and 10 to 12 additional cameras, the ability for officers to view cameras, the ability for members of the mayor and council to view some cameras through an app. He also discussed using Hagerstown as a model and the possibility of civilian employees monitoring cameras in the future because it would be less expensive. He went so far as to say that cameras could, quote, solve way more problems than even adding 5 police officers. These comments describe a long-term policy direction, not simply replacing one camera vendor with another. Before the town enters into another 5-year agreement, I respectfully ask that you hold a public hearing devoted to the broader use of surveillance. Residents deserve the opportunity to discuss the appropriate role of surveillance technology, how far it should expand, and what safeguards should govern. I asked the town to clarify the surveillance system currently in place by telling us how many cameras and what types are operating, which are continuous or triggered, what data is collected and how long it's retained, who can view live or recorded footage, including whether access extends to civilians, mayor, or council, and how that is monitored. Finally, has the proposed Axon agreement already been executed, approved, or otherwise committed to by the town? If so, by whom and under what authority? I hope someone will answer that tonight on the record. An informed public discussion begins with transparency. Before deciding where we're going, residents should understand where we are today. I again respectfully ask the council to postpone action on this until the community has had the proper opportunity to participate in that discussion.
Okay, Andy.
Assume only one with Andy here.
That last name, so.
Oh,
There you go. I'll say jujitsu.
State your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Sure. My name's Andy Pugh, 310 Chieftain Lane here in Queensboro. So first, I'm not against the police having the tools to be successful. I support police. I just have concerns over the gradual erosion of our constitutional liberties. Our freedoms are never taken all at once. They're taken one step at a time. Each of those steps is only presented as being justified, reasonable, or necessary. They'll say we should sacrifice freedom for safety, privacy for convenience, liberty for efficiency, until one day we realize we've traded it all and it can't be reclaimed. We learn anything from the Patriot Act and the violations that continue from that. Sacrificing rights in the name of or under the guise of safety never works. I don't doubt everyone wants a safer Boonsboro, but I do doubt that it was not fully considered what's at stake in pursuit of that goal. You can't have liberty until you have privacy. First question is, why Boonsboro? Who came up with the idea that Boonsboro needs flock or similar technology? We're Boonsboro, small town. How did it end up here? Did they come to us? Did we go to them? It's not far-fetched to think we're being used by the county, the city, or in general by flock. It's more of having more data points in a larger system. With the limited role that Boonsboro police plays in my life, having use of advanced LPR systems makes no sense to me. Provides no credibility to the argument that it's only used by BPD. It's cataloged and used by everyone else. You have warrantless surveillance searches, whether to conduct geofencing or a multitude of other Fourth Amendment violations. The Fourth Amendment is not an obstacle to security. It's a security policy. Watch suspects, not citizens. Cameras are explained to be simple LPR technology. However, the cameras have been found facing community pools, nature trails, and other locations, which are clearly not looking for license plates. New ours, not ours, other locations. When asked why we care so much about them for law-abiding citizens, what happens if the definition of law-abiding changes? COVID lockdowns weren't that long ago, when you couldn't be on the roads unless you're deemed essential, needed a vaccine passport to enter some establishments, etc. When I voiced concern over Flock on social media, I was given snarky advice from a prior council member to reduce the meeting minutes from August where it was all discussed. And if these are the minutes in August 11th, 2025, the basis of the council's approval, I have serious concern. When I look at the agenda from that meeting, the agenda item is approval to purchase Spyker security cameras for BPD. When I open the document with attached, Flock's not mentioned anywhere. I know I'm talking about Flock, I didn't realize we're talking about accidents tonight. I really don't know. I don't believe any of the council members really know what they approved when they signed up for Flock. Or if you did and don't care what you've been a part of, I think there should be some challenges to the council in the future. I think you should be asking more questions and not shutting us down when we have questions. I'll quote somebody who says this more eloquently, but in the end, it's not about the cameras. It's about the constitutional stewardship. All of us in this room are here for different reasons. We all feel differently about schools, developments, taxes, and these cameras, and reasonable people can disagree on all these issues. Before we're Democrats or Republicans, homeowners or renters, we are the people. We are not just, Constitution was not written as the government's rulebook for the people. It was written for the people to strangle its government. One day, every one of you will turn to this side on the podium. And when you do, the liberties that you preserve will protect your families and they protect mine. Thank you for your time.
You, Neil.
State your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hey, my name is Hugh O'Neill, 327 North Main Street. If you in this room know me, and you know the fact that I live in a major part of Boonesboro, right on Main Street, so I see a lot, as well as I walk my dogs through town, which everybody usually sees me. So I'm not really here to speak directly or indirectly about flock cameras or the accident camera systems. I really don't have that much of an opinion one way or the other. I do agree with some of the people in the room, especially David Bell, that said there should be maybe a ballot that the people have a vote on about the surveillance in this town. Let them vote on it, when they're voting for the election. But what I am here to talk about is we are a very small town. We have a police department, which many towns our size do not have. And I believe we should have a police department. But since Chief Morgan has passed away, I have seen a decline in the police department. I do not see vehicles on the streets. I do not see people at night. I do not see people on the weekends. I said, what I do see is BMW motorcycles being purchased, not being used anywhere. Purchased originally to access the park. And I see souped up Jeeps being purchased to access, again, Schaefer Park. But if anybody knows Schaefer Park, I can drive any car, anywhere, or any SUV almost anywhere in Schaefer Park. I'm not sure what that was, whether it was why we're spending money on that. So then we have expenses. I don't know if everybody in this room knows that our police department budget went up 22.5% one fiscal year to the next. I said, and some of the pay structures have gone up close to 22%. Now, I believe policemen should be paid very well. And especially in our town where we want to save police. But jumping 22% is crazy. I mean, everybody in this room would love a 22% increase. So, just go through my here. But as for the flock cameras, we just purchased this or leased it just a year ago. Everybody thought it was a good decision. Here it is a year later. I guess it wasn't a good decision because we're now changing vendors. And then a year from now, we'll be doing it again because we're just knee-jerk reacting to decisions. We're buying BMW motorcycles, doing nothing with them, buying Jeeps that we didn't really need. We're increasing pay structures we don't need. We're doing all this stuff that, so I see the police department as getting out of control. So as for someone else's comment about old technology, I think the first gentleman started talking about technology. Well, this is an old technology. It was a year old. Why are we replacing it? So I don't even know why we're even discussing it. Thank you.
Alexander Swan.
Hello.
Hello.
Please state your name and address in about 3 minutes.
Alexander Swan, 6134 Lawrenceville Road. I know I am not technically within the exact town limits. I am 1 mile outside of the roundabout, which means that I pass 2 of the cameras that are currently in place every single day on my way to work. I know that we are switching from Flock to Axon. However, I do have concerns in relation to the LDRs overall. I did not have fancy speech as the other people did. I really wish I had. But I was taking notes during it, as well as having my own thoughts that I came in with. In relation to credit card fraud and other in-business frauds, crimes that take place, if these are only tracking license plate numbers, how will they assist with getting a credit card back? How will they assist with making sure that your bank account is not taken over? They currently, to date, have not assisted with any kidnappings. So whether your son or your daughter are taken, heaven forbid, there is zero proof of those assisting in any successful way as of today's date. To go with the gentleman who spoke about the e-bikes, the thought that I had was that they may not have been hacked, but it just means they have not been hacked yet. If in 2001 I found a way to easily turn on cameras in my public high school to a firewall because I was bored with no technical training, can't tell me that with the use of AI right now, there's no way that a bad actor or someone who's bored will not have access to these cameras in a short time frame. This means it has not happened yet. We speak about these cameras in areas to talk about crime prevention or to solve crimes that have already taken place. But this is Greensboro. We're a small town. We do not have those types of crimes. Why do we need this type of overall oversight? And I this is the rest of my time. Thank you so much.
Daniel, score for
All right.
last name. Was that last name?
Very tough. Yeah.
Please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Porfirio. I live at 202 Burton Way. I'm here to talk in regards to what the council may not know is becoming a larger trend nationally, and that is Axon swooping into places where Flock has been moved, either by force or contractual changes, as is the case here. And I feel as we as a city are making a grievous error by inviting them into it. While Axon boasts not sharing our information with their broader network, that does not solve the problem we had with Flock initially, and that is that Boonesboro is not a town in need of privatized surveillance. In the town of 3,800, the metrics that I've seen is that we reported 26 incidents over the last 12 months. That's less than 1%. These cameras are not a useful tool in solving crimes. They'll cost us needlessly in the long run. We're gambling that they won't. There are already cameras individually up and down the entirety of Main Street and at nearly every house. I imagine a lot of you have Ring cameras, which do partner with police, providing footage, whether with or without a warrant. And all of us up now. I have a Doorbird. It's a similar thing. This may seem inconvenient, but it sets the onus of providing a warrant for that footage, which should be the bare minimum of any criminal investigation that should take place. Separately, right now, if you were to use there's an app called D-Flock, where you can see where all the Flock cameras are. If you check Flock's footprint, Boonesboro is an oasis for these cameras. 10 of them, and none of them in Middletown, none of them in surrounding townships. They're using us as a test bed, basically. And Axon wants to become an oasis as well. We cannot trust these corporations to use our information appropriately. Regardless of their promises, we should be prepared for Axon to do what Flock did and farm our movements for their own financial benefit. And by that, I mean data, our data, faces, travel patterns. It's all worth more than what we're paying for them to be installed. from AI training to wholesale purchases of that data, our individual metrics. And not to mention what is being reported more often in the news as the abuses of employees authorized users to track individuals with or without cause. The risk of wrongly making us targets of both law enforcement and bad actors that can access the system raises immeasurably in the interference of private industry. Cloud hacking and exposure are commonplace these days, each resulting in numerous class action lawsuits and individual data breaches. Just because it has not happened yet does not mean it would not happen. And Axon has made a habit of moving fast and breaking news over the last 33 years. Now, a multi-billion-dollar company, they've shown a pattern of abusing their relationships with clients, potential customers, and small towns and cities. They attempted to bully Scottsdale, Arizona into housing their main headquarters, attempting to subvert procedure and reclassify their headquarters to override a citizen-led campaign in Scottsdale for them to cease their attempts. Fortunately, the citizens were able to expunge them after a year-long effort. While Axon is currently trying to do the same to us, they are a first step on a slippery slope to both an oppressive surveillance state and big corporations tricking small towns like ours into giving them what they want, our privacy. It's too late for us to prevent our data and exposure given the flock back in our possession. Our privacy with them as it stands has been compromised, but we can't stop Axon from gaining a foothold here in what I know to be a proud community that values its privacy as well as its freedom, one that would not want to trade that for cheap promises of security. This is a shortcut at best, and there are no shortcuts to security.
That's it, sir.
So I had an email request on the name that was on it was Jane Doe. To the Boonesboro Town Council, residents of Boonesboro and the Boonesboro Police Department. As a longtime resident of Boonesboro, I'd like to share my thoughts regarding the ongoing discussion about the flock cameras located throughout and at the borders of our town. After spending considerable time reading about and researching this technology, I believe license plate reader cameras can be a valuable tool for helping law enforcement investigate and solve crimes. I'm also encouraged that the department plans to transition to Axon technology, which appears to offer additional safeguards and accountability. What concerns me most, however, is that misinformation and incidents involving officers from other jurisdictions are being used to cast doubt on the integrity of our own Boonesboro Police Department. Anyone who is actively involved in this community knows these officers. They practice community policing every day. They are visible at crosswalks. They stop to talk with residents. They visit local businesses. They deliver food to those in need. And they build relationships with our children and teenagers. They pull over when kids wave at them, open their trunks, hand out stickers, trading cards, and other items that make positive interactions with law enforcement memorable. Our youth know these officers by name because those officers have taken the time to earn their trust. That is why it is deeply disappointing to see videos and social media posts implying that our officers are intentionally misleading this community or acting with malicious intent. Healthy debate about surveillance technology is important. Asking tough questions is important, but making personal accusations against the officers who serve this town without evidence is unfair and damaging. Some of the comments that have been made, claims that officers could use these cameras to stalk people, target women, or commit violent crimes, are extraordinarily serious allegations. Before making statements like these, I would ask each person to consider whether they would be willing to say those same words directly to these officers and their families while looking them in the eye. These officers have spouses, children, parents, and neighbors who hear these accusations as well. If there are legitimate concerns about the technology itself, then let's discuss the technology. Let's ask questions about policies, oversight, data retention, and accountability. Those are worthwhile conversations, but those discussions should not become personal attacks on officers who have given this community every reason to believe they care about the people they serve. Whether you support or oppose the use of flock cameras, we should all be able to agree that Boonesboro deserves respectful, fact-based conversations. We can debate policy without destroying trust in the very people who are committed to protecting our community. I support open discussion, I support transparency, and I support our Boonesboro Police Department. Boonesboro can and should do better than personal attacks. Our officers deserve that, and so does our community.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no other signups for public comments, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our Public Works Superintendent, Mr. Huntsberry. I'd like to give you a report for Public Works, sir.
I'm gonna stand up so all you guys can see because I'm kind of hidden this behind here, but I'll start with the water distribution side of it. We finished completing all the water leaks from the leak detection company, Fluid Conservation, that came down, and actually helping Pete's Reservoir big time. So it was like, ended up being like 12 small little leaks, fire hydrants, service lines, stuff like that. Moving on to Route 34 bypass from Crestview. Was completed today. It will be turned on tomorrow morning with the PRV cost for anybody that lives in the Crestview development. The pressure out there will drop from 130 to around 80, which is normal for that area. You shouldn't have 130 pound pressure on it. So everything's going good. There's 5 houses out there that need to be hooked back up to the new 12-inch water line, and they'll find 6 water taps out there. So one was unaccounted for water. It was not going to work. It was headed across the street to the farm. We just disconnected it and didn't hook it back up. So that, a 3/4 inch line running at 130 PSI for way beyond my 25 years. That's a lot of water. Yeah, it is. So they could have been hooked up back in the 40s, 30s, we don't know. So it can't be the people that carried it in the wall. Going to the sewer side, the guys are still continually flushing all the sewer lines in town. They got the town itself left to go, and they'll be completed. And everything else on the public works side's good. There's not really a report on it. Guys are all doing good.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thanks. Anybody have any questions of Greg? All right.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
When you boil water, you have that big white stuff that stays in the pan. What is
Sediment?
that?
Sediment?
That's hard.
That's our hard water.
Yeah.
That's just the hard water. It's not dangerous or
No.
anything like that.
Perrysburg has hard, very hard.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the water and sewer superintendent, Mr. Pete. It's all yours, sir.
I'll start with the water side. Everything's running pretty smooth. We did get a new chlorine analyzer in the Boonesville water plant. I just had all the calibrations done throughout the system for water. We do have a problem with the pump in the pump house in Keysville that I'm working on. Pretty close to getting that solved and fixed. That's pretty much it for the water side. Sewer side, we are doing really good. We did finally get the new transducer for the inflow. Done and completed now, and that's working really good now. It's a lot better than the rubber system that we had. We had a good month last month, so really not a whole lot to report, so we don't need the money to spend.
Well, what's the matter with the pump, Steve? What's the matter with the pump?
It's just the seals and stuff.
Yeah.
Have to tear it off.
Okay, thank you.
Greg, just the fact that people stood up and left when you were talking, don't take that personally.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't leave a peep, but I would.
I don't care.
No, we're not playing favorites.
Next, we have our town manager report. Welcome back. I don't know if you have anything to report. You were on vacation.
Just a couple things. We did finally get the official notice that we're getting the funding to address the COVID situation. So we had already put our 50% match in the, for setting aside in the fees. So we're on a total of 500,000 to work on that. And we received notice that, I had applied for a grant to put a pavilion at the pond in the park. We are getting the funding for that. So a couple things that will have, our RFPs posted soon. Oh, and we did get the 125,000 reimbursement for Crestview. That was the state funding that Senator Porterman had, no, Crestview, yes, Crestview, Porterman. I'm still reading emails, so if you're waiting on anything from me, please be patient. That's it.
That's it, okay. Anybody have any questions of Rachel? All right, my laptop was died. What's next on the agenda?
Town planners.
Thank you.
Okay, big day tomorrow, big day tomorrow. Tomorrow's the reservoir goes on. And I'm gonna take the opportunity, since we have so many people here, to just kind of let everybody know that something that the Utilities Commission, the New World Mayor and Council know. We have plans for different contingencies for everything. So just so that everybody knows, the old reservoir is gonna be full. We're gonna close the valve and take it offline, and we're gonna put the new reservoir that's full on. We're gonna keep the old reservoir online for 5 days. He operates the system with the new reservoir to ensure everything's working the way it does. There were some notices that went out via email. There's also a couple of things on the radio. That's why you may see fluctuations in pressure as we go to the new reservoir. The reason we're keeping the old reservoir full is if for some reason that we don't have any idea what would be, we were to have some terrible fire and we needed the water for fire protection, that we can always open a valve and we have that 1 million gallons of the old reservoir. Now, once we operate it for 4 or 5 days, go over to the new one, he's gonna tell us, yep, we're good, nope, we're not, good. Then what happens is we will actually drain the old reservoir, and then we will actually fill in the reservoir, finish up that pump. So that's been a long time coming. You may see a lot of trucks around tomorrow. We're gonna be checking pressures throughout the town, making sure things are where they need to be, according to the model that you guys had done, the hydraulic model. WRA will be here because they were our engineer that did the design, so it's gonna be kind of all hands, make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. We anticipate that, but we always plan for bad, so that we're not surprised. So that's the reservoir. On the Chase 6 side, we finally got all the plans approved by the county with all the last revisions. We should be getting our grading permit later this week, first of next week. Now we have to work with Excavating Associates to get them back out. Remember, we had them lined up, ready to go, and the county hit us with all kinds of permit requirements that delayed the project. So now we're gonna have all the permits in hand, but Excavating Associates, we're gonna have to get them. We do have a meeting this week and probably next week with the representatives from Washington County Public Schools to talk about how are we gonna do this without impacting the kids there at the school. I think we have a way. We get into those details yet because we're discussing them, but it looks like we can build most of the new road without impacting anything, and there would just be a tie-in section that might take a week to do. So that's just kind of an overview. Obviously, we need to talk, that's one reason we're meeting with Washington County Public Schools. We don't want to impact the kids. We don't want to hold them up. We don't want to do those things. But we all know that that intersection is going to make things much safer and really improve traffic, especially the intersection of Mapleville Road and Main Street there. You know, we won't have the buses making those left-hand turns and the cars and stuff. So that's where we are there. McDonald's, people keep asking about McDonald's and Hyde. They all have their permits. Excuse me. Hyde has all their permits. They're actually doing some of the finishing touches. They're looking for an opening probably second or third week of August. Talk about their McDonald's are trying to get permits, just like we were a month ago. So they have all their approvals. They're just going through the process of trying to get the permits, getting permits out of Washington County.
Oh, yeah.
Tractor Supply, any movement?
Tractor Supply, they are working with state highways, submitting the information that they need, have the access there where Dollar General. So they're still working with the state highway until they get state highways approval. They're not going to submit to the town planning commission. They're keeping us abreast, that's why you know about it, but they're not submitting anything formal until they actually have state highway saying what improvements, if any, are necessary at that intersection by adding a Tractor Supply there. Of course, everybody sees the work going on at the ambulance company. Any questions over here?
Anybody have any other questions? Okay.
I just want to, I'm going to publicly thank through in front of this entire audience, I don't think you realize we have here an asset through some town plan. This Chase 6 Boulevard issue and connecting the roads has been a long time coming and a nightmare to build these agencies. It's navigated like a landmine, a minefield. And Drew, I appreciate everything that you've done. Absolutely.
Thank you. I did step on that.
Everybody should get a kudos. I mean, Greg, they did. Reservoir project's been a long time, and it's been, you know, it's gonna be a nice thing to have it done.
And I'll just qualify with one comment as well, with the cost of this reservoir. It's over $6 million, and we went out, we actually got grants, federal, state, local. You know, it didn't cost the taxpayers a penny. So, you know, I know we had a lot of comments tonight down the list, but we do work very diligently and we're very responsible about how we spend the money in the town. And that's one of the projects, most costly. The Chase 6 is another one with maybe a real intersection with a traffic light for safety with the children crossing the street. They have to go down the whole list, but Yes, thank you. We have a hardworking staff here in town. They all do a tremendous amount of work, and they pick up, and they do for others when some of them can't be here behind the scenes, which y'all love to see when they're out for other reasons. Police Department, Chief.
First off, I'd like to thank everybody for their comments. Sincerely, thank you guys. I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree with the comments that you've made as far as giving up our freedoms and what surveillance means. I'm stuck between what you guys said. And I don't want to get into the discussion because we just don't have the time, but I don't feel that a lot of the sentiment about where the data goes and how the data is collected is true. I'll leave it at that. I'm willing to stay here if you guys want to stay and talk about that. For the basis of getting the meeting over with, I'd rather move on from that. But I do thank you guys for your comments. I thank you guys for coming here and being professional and presenting it in a respectful way. And most of you don't know me from Adam, and I appreciate that. But my only concern is keeping you guys safe. And if you don't believe that, then I'm sorry. I mean, because if you think I'm here for the money or because I need a job, I don't. So, the only thing I would like to address is the pay raise. Mr. O'Neill's right. Chief Morgan negotiated that pay raise in 2024 to go into effect in the calendar year 2025 before I was here. Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but the city's probably gotten 30% during that time, and the county about 35% as far as law enforcement goes. And that's estimates. Not to quote me on that, but I'm in the ballpark. Yes. Not to mention retention bonuses and sign-on bonuses, which we can't offer. So I do.
Just remember, people tried to defund the police a few years ago.
Yes. That's what happened. That's what happened by defunding. Now we had to give 30 and 40% pay raises to keep people.
Without looking at the numbers, some of the budget actual, we did not have a full police staff because we
Correct.
had lost, you know what I mean? So it looked like we spent less than we actually really had planned to budget because we had lost people, and now we're back to full force.
And I'll just comment further that our officers were grossly underpaid. They were
Yes.
grossly underpaid. You could make better money working in sheets.
Yes.
And that's
some
a
did.
fact.
Yes. And that's why we had
Can I
to.
ask Dave a question?
Sure.
So can any of your officers at any time pull up my truck and my personal information, my tag information, see what I've been doing, or is
Through
there some
NCIC.
is there a prerequisite?
If we're behind you in our car and run your tag in NCIC, I get all the information on your license.
What's that acronym stand for, Chief?
National Crime Information Center.
So
So,
it's a legitimate service that.
yeah, it's through meters and NCIC. It's a tool that we use, and we're encouraged to run tags.
Sure.
I mean, you know, when I had student ride-alongs, I would let them run. You know, I would show them the system, let them run people that you got behind them, would show a warrant. You have to confirm a warrant before you make the actual traffic stop through dispatch and all that. And I don't want, I'm gonna tell you what I know about the LPR system. So I have not logged in to Flux. Sergeant Whittington, I don't believe, is logged into Flux. Lieutenant Rogers knows a pretty good bit about the computer system, as does our office manager, Amy Rudy. They have access to it. They can only log into Flux when we have a case number or a report number to look it up, to look into that. And then the system logs every time that we're logged into it. It logs who logs into it, the information they're looking at, and why they're looking at it. Again, you know, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind out there, and I'm not trying to call anybody a liar. And I know that's what it sounds like, but I'm just telling you what I know about the system. We retain all the data. I mean, Flock says they can't, Axon says they can't. Guys, I'm not a computer savvy person, and you know, I'm gonna be the first to admit that. Can they? I don't know. I know what they tell us, and I know where they say the data is. So we retain data for 30 days, and that is through so we have to make a report yearly to MCAT. So it's a Maryland, I have to look it up. Guys.
Tactical.
No, it's on Maryland. Give me a second. I got it here. It's Maryland Coordination and Analysis Center. So they require yearly reporting. The deadline is March 1st. So March 1st of 2027, we have to turn in all 2020 state data. So we have 2 cars that have LPR readers on. They are not Axon or Flux, they are maybe,
You asked me too fast.
okay. They are
We got a grant in
2018.
no, it wasn't 18, because I did the grant. It was 2020, I think.
Okay,
Leonardo,
okay.
Elslag, they're
That's
Elslag.
it, yeah, that's it. So we have 2 cars that are on the 2 Silver Explorers. They do the same thing. So every car that passes them, that information comes into the computer. Again, just the license plate information. So I'm just telling you again, I don't want to be adversarial up here. I don't want to make it sound like I'm calling because I don't do that. And again, I have my own concerns about, privacy and security. I have no Ring doorbells. You're not going to find me on social media. My wife has a Facebook account under my name, but that's because she didn't want to put it under her name. So, story. But I've never been on Facebook. So anyway, some of the things, so when it reads that tag, that's all we get from that. So the only way I can go deeper than that, if I have a case or I'm looking at that tag information, is to take that license plate and put it in NCIC. Every time you go through a red light camera, speed cameras, toll cameras, HOV lane cameras, that information pulls the NCIC information on you guys. I mean, they're much more invasive, and whether you agree with them or not, I don't know, and I'm not here to debate it, and I'm not here to try to sell you guys. Yeah, I think the conversation tonight was great. I think the openness of the conversation was great. You don't have to believe a word I'm saying up here, but I don't disagree with our privacy in this country. And I don't think this lessens what your guys' point is, but I feel that our privacy went away 20 plus years ago with the internet and these cell phones. And that's, again, I'm not saying we should give up more, but that's my belief. You guys have your belief, I'm just giving you mine. There have been incidents where officers have done wrong. They've been caught because of the internal audits inside the systems, and Flux or Axon's auditing system. They've all been fired. Some of them have been fined. Some of them have faced prison terms that might have been suspended or probations and stuff like that. But all of them have been dealt with. And, I don't know how to convince you that the only reason I did this was for our safety. I will say, and Nick, I hope you know, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but they've had a 48% reduction in violent gun crimes in HPD. They're interviewing those people. And Nick, would you mind telling what you're hearing? I mean,
yeah. Hi guys, Nick Barnum with the Texas Police Department. I run our technology program for the city of Hagerstown. We've been in partnership with Boonesboro for a long time, always been a resource for them, vice versa. We have 48% in our violent crimes related to guns in the city of Hagerstown in the past few years. We attribute the majority of that to our technology. One of the ways that we've been able to glean that information is by interviewing people that have been arrested, and specifically in drug-related crimes, which drives a lot of our violent crimes in our city. And interviewing people that didn't have guns on them in situations where normally they would. And what we're finding is that they were responding in these interviews that they're no longer bringing guns to the city of Hagerstown because of our technology. Because they know if they do something with the gun, they're going to get prosecuted. Or we're going to find out who it is, and we're going to prosecute successfully. That's the difference in the technology is, there's a couple different components to this. One is that. Also, those interviews, what we're finding is that they're moving out from the city with the violent crimes. Seeing more happen on the outskirts and in the county now that was happening in the city. And unfortunately, we're pushing it out. We prefer to go even further. But it takes communities like you guys and being willing to step into technology that's going to help you guys combat that crime coming to your area. So there's two folds to that. When we're deploying our technology, we look at our crimes, we deploy our technology in relationship to those crimes. But we're pushing this out. Your community is trying to use that technology to protect citizenry here. Chief Reiser's done a great job of doing the research on it. He knows the technology. He knows how it's deployed and the best way to use it for you guys.
And I want to say one other thing. We have a venue that came to town. It's so far been you know, a good business. It's bringing a lot of national acts to Boonesboro and a lot of crowds to Boonesboro, 1,000 people sometimes on Friday and Saturday nights to these big national acts. These people are not from Washington County. I mean, they're coming here from Frederick, from Baltimore, from DC. You see New York tags in the parking lot. Again, you know, no, you know, and I've heard people say, we don't have the crime here. Thank God. We don't have the crime in Hagerstown that Frederick has, or Frederick doesn't have the crime that Baltimore has. But it's pushing out, guys. I mean, you know, I know everybody here sees that. Am I saying that Boonesboro is going to see 100% spike in crime or violent crime? I pray to God not every night that we don't. You know, I wish that we had one police officer, and I wish I could take my gun off and be Andy Griffith, and we'd all be back in Mayberry. And I say that in all honesty. I wish that the times weren't like they are. Again, I'm open to all kinds of discussions. I want you guys to be safe, and I want, when we need that technology, and we are only using it when we need it. You can look on the portal and see how many times it's been used. You know, Flops has a portal, Axon does too, Nick, correct? So if we make this switch, if it gets approved, you know, it has the same portal. You guys can see what we're, you know, how many times it's been used. Again, I do thank everybody. I thank everybody for the comments. I thought, again, I couldn't ask for better, you know.
Chief, I think
feedback.
Mr. has a question.
Yes, sir.
It's, my concern is, it's this private news, this private part. Axon, they can't be trusted. And the issues with Flock, again, they weren't centered around this police office. Like, the issues of like police stalking extra outside the state was delinquent officers tracking people across the country, like ex-girlfriends, finding out where they were hiding. As it stands right now, if someone is trying to escape an ex that's a police officer and has access to a Flock system, if they run through Boonesboro, which again is singularly isolated, they'll ping whatever that officer is looking for and they can find him here. Like, just because no one's committed like a violent murder, as far as we know, doesn't change the fact that like what you're afraid of with crime coming here, I'm afraid of crime happening with this tool. And right now,
I'm sorry, my fault.
Like, is there a potential that we like crime in Boonesboro could increase? Maybe, but like we've made it how many 100 years? Like, okay, for the, not for the whole extent of the town, but like historically, we've had these acts, and we can keep having these acts. We should respond. I understand people don't like the term reactionary, but like we shouldn't be, again, overcompensate. We're trading in advance our privacy, and we don't control the tool. Like, as much as we're being told that we do, trusting this company whose only goal is profit comes at our expense. Like, we are gambling, whether we realize it or not.
Again, you're probably not 100% wrong. I don't think it's 100% right. No other agency can get into our system and look at our cameras. And if they call us and ask, they have to have a report or event number for us to do it.
And no one can falsify or use an existing number?
If they do, the system would catch it. If it's a false report number, our report numbers go in sequence. I mean, and if they gave us a report number of, so 26000447, and 447 was a hit and run in Hagerstown, and somebody called us and asked us to run that Flops in Boonesboro, that's what the system's going to pick up. That it was a erroneous. I mean, it was, you know, somebody falsified information to get us to look up a tag. I don't know. I mean, we haven't had it, so that's the safeguard that's supposed to be there. Again, you probably don't believe me, but I know what you're saying, and I don't just.
My issue isn't. It is this system, and
Right.
Again, like they're wanting to move into our towns.
Yeah.
And once they're in, like, how do we get? I'm amazed we're getting Flock out. Like, I am genuinely amazed that they're going to be leaving in September. I wish they would be gone
I
tomorrow.
mean, so our tasers were probably 15 years old. They're the X26s, which I think I had when Taser first came out, like 2001. So they've been antiquated for. I mean, we couldn't even get battery replacements. I mean, so we're going to the X10s and we're going to the body cams that Axon has, which was gonna be 11.8 roughly. I mean, I think the figures are in that, the report that I did, but, and then the Flux was gonna be 24.5. Axon packaged the total package of, you know, the LPRs, the VWCs, and the tasers for 27.5 for the first 3 years and 33.8 for the next 2 years. We wrote a grant. I mean, there's a possibility that we're not even gonna pay for that. We, you know, I mean, there's strong possibility that we're not gonna pay for it. So I know that doesn't lessen the effects of our fears about our privacy and.
Let me ask 2 questions.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Is private, can we just straight up buy tasers, body cameras? I looked them online, like $500,000 for a body camera, $1,000 for a taser. You cannot buy them to own them.
They're not the tasers that we carry. I mean,
They
so,
have to be regulation.
I mean, well, so.
They have to be effective.
So,
Well, I know any taser.
The ones you buy online are.
so Axon specifically use amperages in their tasers. So I'm a taser instructor. So most of what you see online is got 150,000 volts, 200,000 volts. That will not stop most people, especially somebody on drugs or something. Amperage is what stops people.
Yeah.
And Axon is the only one. So to buy an Axon taser, that I'm around $11,000 to $12,000 per taser for the Axon taser. And I will say this, and again, I don't want you guys, I certainly, I'm trying to be as transparent as I know how to be and can be. So it is a 5-year contract that we would own at the end of the contract. Anything that happens to those tasers or body cams during those 5 years are totally covered. So if we have a taser malfunction, we need new cartridges. It's all included in that contract. At the end of 5 years, if we want to upgrade, if they're out to the taser 12 and we think we need to work, and I won't be around, I will not be around in 5 years. So I'll probably be dead. But, well,
There's optimism.
Realistic.
I mean, I would be older than Kevin and if I'd say 5 years, so.
Regarding the deal,
Yes.
like, I don't issue tasers at all. But let me ask you this, like, we do this contract, this deal, it's mandatory that we install the cameras, right? We can't just do the deal and then just hold the cameras in storage. Because that's, like, that's a deal to me. If we own them after 5 years, and on top of that, like, I don't have an issue with like CCTV, like existing like traffic cams you see go through, like that we've had for like the last 20 years. And if we can repurpose those after 5 years and recover from that, like I'm fine with that.
So
my thing is like if they're mandating that they be installed, that's a clear indication of where Axon's.
No, I mean, I wouldn't think they care if we're paying them $27.5 a year.
Well, like I said, like them having them, like them working, data is up for grabs basically. But if we can get the deal and not install them, I say let's do that. If that's a potential loophole that we can exploit.
Okay, I think this.
Sorry.
And it's
Yeah,
fine.
we can talk, I'm willing to stay, I'm willing to stay.
I think that's more of an offline conversation.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good. I want to be completely transparent. I respect everybody that came here tonight. I respect everybody's input. Everybody has an opinion and we need to listen. If we don't listen, then you shouldn't be electing us. So, thank you for coming out. I see a hand in the back.
I have 2 quick questions, and one is not meant to be a gotcha, so it may be something you need to just kind of look into and roll over. I don't know the answer either, I'm just genuinely asking. So I know that you're stating that the data is owned by Boonesboro, and the idea is that when there's someone within the Boonesboro Police Department is looking it up, or any other agency is like, hey, we need to look for XYZ. They submit that, it gets pinged, you're notified, so on and so forth. The concern with the data, for me at least, has less to do with anyone here looking something up, because, I trust all the Boonesboro police officers. I don't think anyone's gonna go hunt for an ex-girlfriend from high school to see what she's doing. It's more of a, we may own the data, but where is the data stored that we know that is secure? Even if we're storing it centrally here.
We are, we have a server, we paid $21,000 for a server large enough to hold 30 days worth of data. And it's upstairs in our police department.
And then after that 30 days,
It's
transferred
purged.
over.
No, it's purged. It's purged. We pull the stats, we record the stats so we can report it to MCAC. after the first of the year, and that information is purged.
So MCAC is just the statistics on the things that are done, not on the actual data collected.
Correct. Not, so it doesn't, we don't report every tag that goes through there to MCAC, just when we use the system. Yeah, so if we use it 7 times this month, we would report all that to
Or if
MCAC.
Timbuktu requested it, they should get that notification as well.
Correct, but we would run that
As long as
information.
they have
They
the
would.
case number, and-
Yes.
yes, they're asking, they just don't get to call and ask for information, they're asking for the case number.
Yeah.
Because that was where the data was physically being stored was one of my concerns. Because
Correct.
again, with, even though everyone who's using it may be completely on the level, all you need is someone who can get that in between area.
The server was bought with the Spiker camera system, so it's through a system, a database called Milestone. So Phlox offers a database, Axon offers Fusus, I think is their database, but we do not use that. So Phlox offered a 365-day retention. It would up the contract by $2,600 a year. You know, we requested not to have that. That's what lowered it to 24.5, and we had the 30-day retention on just on our side.
So was that one of the complaints that was done with, Flock was in relation to a request was put in, but it was not fulfilled within that 30 days, so part of that information was already lost?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
In Phlox system, what I understand is Phlox, it's personal system within Phlox, like the people that work there. That system had apparently got compromised, but it had nothing to do with the data that the agencies are supposed. And I'm just telling you what, you know,
Yeah,
that I'm told. So, you know, again, I'm not trying to dispute anything that you've heard or you've researched, but that's my, and again, that's through Phlox, their understanding, you know. Yeah, so.
And then my
Yep.
second question is actually for, Lisa. Sorry. You stated that less people were using guns, were bringing guns into Hagerstown because they knew that they would be caught basically, or that it would be a bad time if they got caught with a weapon. Was that because of the body cams, or was that also because of the license plate reader? And if the license plate reader is supposed to be the licenses, how does it know whether they do or not?
It's about our entire technology. We have citywide traffic cameras all over. We have about 700 cameras that we maintain, which is part of the city of Hagerstown. And then we have 20 LPR cameras around the city of Hagerstown as well. It's about the technology footprint altogether. The other side of that is it's not just about are they going to get caught what they're doing. It's, I mentioned briefly about the prosecution of that. Unfortunately, we live in a society where nobody believes anything. They don't believe witnesses, they don't believe victims, they don't believe the officers, they just don't believe it. It didn't happen on camera, it didn't happen. So when we go to prosecute cases and it's not on camera, it's almost impossible to get a conviction. We have shootings and stabbings and they still happen on camera and people go to jail. You can see the state's attorney's office just released multiple trials that we've gone through, homicides that have happened on camera. Vehicles, traffic, the way they move throughout the city for the incidents, all on camera. And it's a huge success story for us as a city to see that and then to see the crime start to decrease because of it. We've tried everything. Been a police officer for 20 years. And by the way, LPR is not new technology. We've had LPRs in the city of Hagerstown for 25 years. We've had stationary LPRs, we've had vehicle LPRs. And the data you're talking about, LPRs do not capture your data. It doesn't capture the picture of your tag and your vehicle. That's the data we're talking about. It's not your personal information, it's not your date of birth, social security number. None of that is linked to a tag. All that's done through NCIC with officers' ability to access that information. Got a lot of talk about Axon too. I was briefly talking about Axon. Axon is a huge partner of Public City. Their whole entire design is about Public City. They're not a public company outside of that. Their world is Public City. Their data is encrypted. It's high security level data. It's all CJIS compliant, which is a compliance level that most data doesn't ever have to see. End-to-end encrypted, and where it's stored and the data that is stored and available, it's almost impossible to get to. Is it impossible to get to? No, obviously anything can be done, but it's at the highest possible level. It's also where all the body cam footage is stored from your officers and stuff like that. So it's not like it's a new place. Axon is a very trusted partner on that side of it. So when we talk about the technology, it's not just the tag reader, it's not just the body cam, it's the entire thing we do. We also have drones. We have drones that we fly for operations. We have drones that we fly for incidences. We got Overwatch drones that we go out there if a major incident's happened. We have rooftop mounted drones in our city. Technology is a huge part of the success of what we're seeing in our city. We're not perfect, we're not there yet. We still have a lot of violence that we're dealing with. But like I said, 20-some years, we've never seen anything like this. For us, it's a huge impact for our city.
Okay, I think I'd like to wrap this part of it up.
I understand.
If there's any
I'll
other-
stay. If anybody, whatever you guys want, I'm willing to stay.
Do you have any more on your report?
Did we even say?
I don't know. I don't think you did. We sort of got sidetracked there. That's okay.
All right.
Just,
So-
I appreciate all the.
Yeah, I mean, I really do. It was very, very informative on all of our parts. So, our calls for service this month was 165. Our calls for service year to date is 1,001. Last year, year to date through July was 714. So we're a little above a 30% increase in our calls for service. You guys see the rest of the numbers. We had 84 traffic stops. We issued 103 warnings, 4 citations. It's again, officer discretion in what they do there. 940 traffic stops, or 724 traffic stops year to date, 940 warnings or citations issued year to date. 20 parking citations year to date, which is the town parking citations. Patrol checks and active enforcements this month was 792. Year to date, we've made 6,522 traffic enforcement / patrol checks compared to last year, 4,653. So we had 1 adult arrest this month, 6 adult paper arrests this month. That's all thanks to Sergeant Sword and most of the Weiss cases that he's getting. I mean, you guys wouldn't believe, like once a week, somebody gets a grocery cart and walks out of Weiss Market without paying for it. And Sergeant Sword has been on that since he's got here. He's made quite a mark in making arrests through that. So, yeah.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Yeah. So that's all I got, Mayor.
Okay, anybody have any questions of the chief?
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Bell, who I think has already left,
Yes.
did want to know about how many public cameras we have and where they're at. And I know they're at the park. I do not know. You don't have to answer it now, but maybe we could at least give
Yes.
him an answer
Around 58. Yes, that are active right now. Yes.
about that.
Yes.
So maybe we can make sure we get that.
Oh, yeah.
Amy,
Yeah.
close.
It's right around 50.
50.
Right around 50, yeah.
Yes.
A year ago, I came here for 2 years, sheriff department. We did not have cameras at the outskirts of town. We didn't have. The only crimes that we weren't solving were incidents that happened on Lincoln Avenue and the suspect went out, he was out. We didn't have cameras there. We had a lady, it was $170,000 out in, Kinsey Heights. Suspect came, picked up gold. She asked if she didn't stand. Understood that. We did not have cameras out there to get this foreign guy that he picked up the gold from. Now, that's all I want, is cameras at the house in town, so we can help solve those crimes. That'd be good.
Okay, all right, I think we get it.
Got it, sir.
I think we get it, yes, okay. Next on the agenda is mayor and council updates and correspondence. I'm sorry, oh, yeah, okay. Anybody have anything to add at this point? Okay, I got a couple things. National Night Out was a huge success. Thank you, in part to the Boonesboro Police Department and definitely to Sergeant Sword. I think he's owned that organization now since you took it over last year, so we appreciate all that that you do. And next year, Mary Lee and I will be prepared for the dunk tank. We have that on our schedule now. I'm going to be attending the renaming of the Commission on Aging on August the 18th. I'm going to be attending my graduation at the Academy of Excellence, at MML graduation on September the 27th at the University of Maryland. I'm going to be attending the National Road Museum. They have a guest speaker on August the 12th. It's Toby Mendez, and that's going to be a great night at the Road Museum. Personal plug for my church, Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church, right here at 64 South Main Street. We're having our annual community free picnic on Saturday, August the 22nd from 4 to 6. I was able to serve again this year on the MML Legislative Committee. We've already started our meetings for the 26-27 year. They've chosen two legislative action requests that we want to focus on. One is the family and medical leave insurance mandate. That state fund begins on January the 1st of 2027, and we have no idea where that money's coming from. It's really amazing how the state can just tell us what we're going to do. But the legislative committee is working very proactively on that, and our other request that we're going to work on is a public safety concern over coordinated takeovers, these coordinated events that the juveniles are doing from, thank God we haven't had one yet, but these events they're orchestrated online. They do these things and they show up and they overwhelm the police departments, and it's a real problem for law enforcement. So the legislative committee is tackling that, and one is a holdover from last year is a revenue source for local government. We run this town on taxpayer money. The taxes that we collect is what we make our budget from. And if we don't increase tax revenue, then we can't do more for the town. And last year, one of the big takeaways is that we formed a task force that we're looking into other ways that we can subsidize and come up with money for the local government. And I'd like to give a personal plug to Pathfinder's Farm Distillery. Pathfinder's took first place for Maryland's best cocktail this year. I think they came in second last year. And their signature drink that won them the award this year is a blackberry bourbon bramble. I'm going down there this weekend. I'm going to check that one out. That sounds really, really good. That is everything that I have. If one other note.
Unrelated to the campus.
Yeah.
Unrelated to the campus. So, you mentioned about getting like another source of revenue income. Has Boonesboro ever looked into like a solar farm as planned as this?
We have a solar farm and it costs us a lot of money.
One of the
We have
libraries?
yet to see
No,
that.
we have one
It's
down
on
on
the
the
town.
town farm, and it's a money pit. It's an
It's not
absolute money pit.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Building one of the lagoons.
They tell us what we pay for our,
We pay over $8,000 a month for those panels and do not see revenue from it.
Never.
The bad deal.
How many panels?
I don't know, and I
Apparently
really
not.
don't
Oh,
know,
sorry,
but we keep
sorry.
getting off track.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
sorry.
The other thing I want to make announcement for is the First Hose Company of Boonesboro is having their 25th annual Remembrance Parade. That parade's held right here on Main Street. It happens on September the 11th, as it does every year. This year it will be from 6:30 until the end of the parade. Boonesboro Fire and Rescue take that one on their own, and they do a fabulous job. And I hope everybody in town gets to come out and support and be here for that parade.
Yes.
That's everything I have for that. All right, let's move on the agenda. I'd like to formally approve the commission liaison appointments. We didn't have full mayor and council here last week. We had a couple of members that were absent. We did a temporary appointment. Park board was council member Weaver. That one didn't change. Boonesboro Municipal Utilities Commission is now Councilmember Wade. That's a new one. Planning Commission is myself, Assistant Mayor Nally. And Economic Development Commission is the same as Councilmember Hanson. And our Environmental Commission is new member, Councilmember Small. So if I could get a motion just to approve all of the commission liaisons in one shot, that would be great. Somebody wants to make that?
So moved.
And I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on. We have a ordinance that was introduced last month, and we had a public hearing for it tonight. That ordinance is, I think it's 2026-02. And the ordinance is an ordinance to regulate the operation of electric bicycles, electric scooters, and electric personal mobility devices on public walking paths, footpaths, and pedestrian zones within the town of Boonesborough, Maryland. We had the introduction, we had public comments, and we had the hearing. Would somebody like to make a motion that we accept ordinance 2026-02?
I will make a motion to accept ordinance 2026-02.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, is there any discussion?
My discussion would be, I know we had some nice comments and some concerns, maybe you could give us some wording and email it to us, because we can always come back and amend
Right.
and update an ordinance, because actually this was an updated one that I know we put a lot of time and effort into it. I hate to see it get postponed down the road again when we don't have maybe some exact verbiage and
That's
things.
what I was gonna say. We can always come back.
You know what I mean? Because then we can reintroduce and update, but I hate to see
Yeah,
us
just
not
amend it.
start,
Yeah.
because I feel like we had a need, we had an incident, and we need to have something started, so versus putting it on hold again for another 60 days, I'm gonna
And the other,
say I
the
would
other comment.
love to have to
Gentleman,
get some more specific, what you think we need to change.
He also
or
made the
we
comment
need
that
to
there
go.
were some devices that weren't covered.
Right,
Some
so I
other
say
types
if you
electric
kind of
scooters or
give us
something.
that, so we have it
Carol,
in front of us.
Town manager has a echo.
Sorry, just remember that if we pass it tonight and then we amend it a month from now, we have to do the whole
I
thing again,
understand.
including the $200
I
advertisement.
know, I
fee for
understand
public
that, that's
hearing.
why I'm saying,
Okay.
I hate
If we
to.
get,
But
get
if
the
we have
public
good comments and we
back,
find a hole because we actually had a hole in another ordinance.
then we can pass it tonight. But if we choose to amend it later, we
We
have
have
to
to do the whole thing again.
If we find it, if we find that there's public comment or something that's relevant, then we can, that's all I'm saying. But we have the option to do it.
Because I mean, this was an updated one that we had, that
Right.
we decided he did rewrite better, so.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I was
me
gonna-
too.
I was gonna recommend that too, so, okay.
Keep
Any
in
other
mind that we
discussion?
just, it wasn't the council that just did this. I mean,
Park
Park Board did it, police department, whatever, so it wasn't just us.
Wasn't a fly-by-night operation.
Right.
Gave it some thought. Okay. Any other discussion? We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll take the information that you forward on, and if it warrants an amendment in the future, we'll certainly look into it. So, thank you for that. Okay, let me see, what do we have next?
Contract.
Okay. Award contract for paving services.
I'll take this one, Assistant Mayor.
Thank you.
So you guys received the 3 bids for the paving contract that we're doing this year. You got the lowest, unfortunately, the lowest bid did not include the deep patching for the Valley View townhomes, and that is a big part of it. That's why it's so much cheaper than the second bid that's in there. So we have to disqualify that when we go across. They're recommending just put 2 inches of blacktop down their top end parking lot. It's a rough shape. There's no way it'll ever stay. It needs to be excavated down 6 inches, 4 inches of base put down, and 2 inches of top coat on top of that.
Okay, I do have a question. Because
Sure.
isn't this the parking lot that we technically own?
But it's the parking lot that we get tax revenue from because they live in the town, just like. all
Well,
these
I know, but we
places
don't do
out there.
anybody else's driveways. I'm just a bit concerned.
It was my understanding when some of the residents had come forward over a year ago that I thought that we generally agreed that this was just long overdue. There was a history, a complicated history of, previous councils saying we'll help and then nothing happening and everything. And I thought that the agreement was that with FY 27 highway user revenue, we would fix this parking lot just because.
I understand, it's a $20,000 difference. And on that, I guess I'm just asking, are we absolutely sure that what the other company proposed won't work? Or that-
And it,
you know what I
it
mean?
was in the
That's
bid
why I'm
that
just- They had to do it.
you had to do detaching, so it was a
And that's,
non-responsive.
okay, gotcha.
You can put the 2 inches down, Councilmember. Grant.
Gotcha, okay.
But then it might next year, you go to regular, I'm gonna do it again.
Well, that's all I want to make sure.
Regardless though,
This is what I do for a living.
I know you do, that's why I'm asking.
And from my perspective, it was not responsive because we said it had to be detached, so it had to be thrown out anyway, whether
Yeah, they
2
gotta-
inches suffice or not.
Gotcha.
That's like building a house on grass without putting a foundation in.
I understand, that's why I'm just making sure before we spend extra money. That's all I'm asking.
And correct me if I'm wrong, those Wassler is the one that we just started using.
They're the ones that did the thing
David
last year.
Drive. Okay, they're doing really.
We have experience with all three of the companies.
Yeah, they're all three good
They're all good companies. They've done good work for us.
Unfortunately, Rentsburg, did not put the deep patch in it. He's one of just their basketball courts. He did an
Oh,
excellent job.
wow, okay.
Yeah, he just forgot to put it in the bid. He can't get back and change it down.
I understand.
No. Okay.
So your recommendation was
Wassler.
right, and the total for that
Is $90,050. Okay,
So
so,
Frank's recommendation is use that, I just need you guys to vote.
correct. So has everybody reviewed the bids and you understand that, Public Works throughout the other because they didn't qualify for the job done correctly, so, they're recommending to use Wassler for the jobs that he is recommending for this FY 27 year at $90,050. Motion to accept the bid from Wassler for $90,050.
So moved.
Okay, took a while. Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion?
I don't know if we want to, that would be, I hate spending $25,000 extra, like, but, you know what I mean? Like, you would put it back out for bid, but I guess that's kind of. Yeah, well, we're not planning on putting it tomorrow.
No. Okay. Any other discussion? We have a motion and we have a second to accept Wassler's bid at $90,050. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Where am I next?
We're at the very hot topic.
Yes.
Can you change the license plate reader?
Okay, so I've been talking to myself about this through the whole meeting and thinking about and processing every comment. I'm willing to table this one if somebody would table it, just so that we can get more public input.
Sorry.
That's all right. I just feel that I think there's a lot more conversation, Chief, unless you have some opposing argument that,
I oppose that at all.
I mean, I don't feel we did anything wrong as a council. I just want to say that, qualify that, because what we did here in the past year and leading up to this decision has all been in public purview. This one just became a hot button topic, and I can respect that. And I can respect everybody coming out and making their comments. And I think that if they truly want to have a dialogue, then let's move it forward with the dialogue. And
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have two questions. We don't, like our current contract doesn't automatically renew, if we don't do inaction, or do we?
No,
I just wanna make
I've
sure
already
we-
canceled blocks.
Okay,
Blocks has already been canceled.
so it's not for automatic.
We're on hold.
Okay, and then with the Axon vendor, are we able to enter into a 1 year, you know what I mean? Like, do we have to do 5 years? That would be my next question.
Otherwise, we would have to pay the $150,000.
right, I was gonna say, if we don't put in the 5-year contract.
How much would we save over the 5-year period?
For going with Axon, I got it in here.
Yeah, you had it.
It's a total of $35,986 over 5 years. So it's about $11,486 annually.
That's to compare to Flock.
As compared to blocks, yes. And I guess, keep in mind, I mean, the tasers and the body cams are almost imminent. I mean, we have to do that. We're mandated to wear body cams. We're mandated to have less than lethal force options and, so, that would be 11.8, should we not get the LPRs.
And what is our deadline to meet that? Like, when-
I don't think they have a deadline.
Okay, I didn't know whether we were like, you know what I mean, up
No.
against.
I'd like to get more information.
Well, what is the purpose of, we've had this conversation that we talked about before, the moment we talked about evil corporations, we talked about all that stuff. Like, I get that.
Right.
What are we talking about table? We're not talking about getting rid of the cameras. The cameras exist. We're talking
We're
about.
just not going into this.
Right. So
entering
we're
into this-
tabling the conversation about who the contract is, correct? That's, we didn't come in to discuss to get rid of the camera. We're discuss the contract.
Correct.
So why are we gonna table
Just
this?
throwing it out
The
there.
kind of, we're gonna have a conversation about getting rid of the cameras or the invasion of privacy. If we can have that, that's gonna go on for the next decade,
Right.
guaranteed. We're talking about, we're gonna miss an opportunity here.
I can't answer that, Ray, because I didn't get that far with. the
Information we know what we're talking about.
Right.
People are talking about, people come in to talk about their constitutional rights, but we're talking about a contract.
Yes.
And we can talk about and I have plenty to say.
I know.
We can talk about that.
Yes.
In a different form. So
Yes.
before we table something, make sure.
I mean, if you're moving ahead with the your point being that we have the camera systems in place, we're going to a cheaper vendor. Could that be lost? I can't answer that, but I mean, it likely could be. I don't want to give somebody misinformation, but if that's all we're waiting for, I see your point. I mean, yeah. I mean,
We're gonna talk about the constitutionality, we're gonna talk about the public rights and privacy forever.
Yes.
But I don't, we'll talk about that.
Yes.
Again, I'll stick to we want to table the conversation about the contract.
Yes. To be honest with you, I think it all came down to who has access to the information. As long as
That's all, that we're talking about access and evil corporations and all that stuff.
And honestly, we didn't change from one to the other because of the brand. We changed because of the ability to price it differently because we bundled.
Correct.
We're bundling all these other services so that we can save money. And I don't want to go back into this conversation.
I know.
You had your say, you're fine, but I want to honor your.
Yeah, is there an option to decouple the police equipment you need versus the Fourth Amendment rights discussion? I mean, we're talking about the contract you use for cameras, but most of us, I feel like you didn't hear, we're not for you doing your job with the right equipment. I mean, is Axon giving us such a deal because we're getting their readers or their LPR technology as well as their police equipment? Is that why it's such a good deal?
Yeah, it's a bundle, it's a bundle deal. So
Right,
that-
yeah.
that-
That's what makes us pause, right? If you're getting a deal, why are they giving us a deal?
Of stuff we need.
Right, like, they're swinging the top so we get their services. You know, sometimes they're like.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than when you get Xfinity, you get their internet, their TV, their, it's a bundle.
So I asked a question.
And I don't want to go back down this, I don't
But
want to
it's
go back
like
down this.
the same analogy. If you can get cheaper cable because you get 90 Cinemax for it, but you don't agree with 90 Cinemax, I can give you the extra $3 to not have your 12-year-old boy watch a Cinemax.
Again, we can cancel the entire, we can cancel this entire program in a meeting if we want to. If we find, after more public comments, that this is a constitutional issue or a privacy issue. Contract wise, we still have a responsibility to the taxpayers to get the best deal for the dollar. So, and I would love to talk, I have plenty of opinions on the constitutionality of this and all that, but, and we will. Okay, but if someone comes in, you prove to me tomorrow that our camera system is being misused, we'll fire cops and we'll cancel the whole program, all right? No problem. Done it before.
Yes.
All right?
I got it.
That's what we're talking about
One more
tonight.
comment.
Go ahead.
I think Ray's comment is missing because he keeps talking about what everybody's upset in here, but and you already hired a company called Flock and you never gave the public ever a chance to talk about it. It was never on an agenda.
Well, you know that's not true. You
Show
know
me the
that's not
agenda,
true.
Ray.
Were you here at the meeting?
Ray, show me the agenda. Show me the agenda.
We'll
It doesn't
have
exist.
another offline conversation.
It doesn't exist.
It's not necessary. You don't need to come here.
Too.
So, Ray, I'm making a comment.
Okay, you had your chance. Let's get clarity on what are we talking of tabling? Do we own the cameras today? Or is that part of the agreement?
No, we don't have to.
And it's the service, right? So there's 9 cameras around town. If you shut off
7.
or 7, so those cameras stay. Does the service continue? The flock.
The flocks people will come and get their cameras when they're 1 year.
So they'll
service
take the
agreement is
camera
up.
down. If you go with a new company, they're gonna go back and put new cameras up in those locations.
Correct.
And use their service. So,
They would have to, they'll have to get permits just like flocks did. So we have 2 within our town limits that are on town streets that we can permit. The other 5 took state permits, state highway administration permits. So they went up at different times, probably from September to December of last year until the last camera was installed. And that would probably be about the same rollout with Axon. So it would be, once the permits were established and cameras would go up, we could establish the one on Boonesboro Mountain Road and
King Road.
King Road. Thank you.
So, without any more
Yes.
Discussion from the gallery, from council.
Have to have a Robert Rule of Order.
Sure.
Because I don't, can you make a motion if you're acting as the mayor?
I didn't make a motion.
I know, that's why I'm asking
I
that
asked
question.
if
so
somebody wants to, I'm
you
not.
can't do that.
I didn't make a motion.
You're making a suggestion, right?
So we're at the point where do we want to make a motion to table the approval of the LPR system on tonight's agenda?
Or approve it.
Or approve it for tonight?
I'm going to make the motion to approve the change to the license plate.
All right.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second to approve the changing from Phlox to Axon for the LPR system. Does anybody have any other additional discussion?
I guess that would be nice to know. We can always quit using the cameras, right? We still have the money, but we quit using the cameras.
I don't see why not, Mayor. I mean, I'm not sure we could get out of a contract.
That's
once we
my
enter
next
into it,
question
but-
is, do we think it's worth to wait and see if
I-
we can negotiate a 3-year contract? and
I have
get
asked if they
savings
would,
or
if at some point those cameras would come down, would they offer us an alternative? Meaning, we have 3 cars that don't have LPR readers on. They make LPR readers. They also make dash cams, which we have none of. So I don't think we're gonna be out any money as far as if the cameras come down, if we won't be able to get technology that we don't have right now. I don't wanna see us wasting money, I guess is my point. And yeah, I'll just leave, yeah.
Yeah, I know personally of crimes that have been solved using this, and
I know.
I think that.
We're not actually, again, we're not talking about the use, the existence of the camera. We're not talking about whether we should have it. We're talking about the contract.
Correct, you're
We'll
right.
talk about the existence another time, and I got plenty to talk about. Talking
All
about-
right, so we have a motion and we have a second. Does everybody know what they're voting for?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will move on to the Boothborough Police Department personnel change. We just have this on the agenda so that we have complete transparency. We have an officer that was officer first class that was promoted to sergeant. And that individual is Sergeant Jim Sword. And he is.
He's gone
for the
day.
day.
He had early report.
And again, we just want to put it on the agenda so that we have complete transparency. Officer Sword is, he's taken National Night Out and made it his own, and we appreciate all that he does for the town. Next on the agenda are commission reports. We'll start with Mr. Weaver with the Park Board.
Meeting was called to order at about 7 o'clock on July 22nd. Charlie Lackey is working on her silver award and would like to, this is a girl's Boy Scout. Yes, it's definitely a she. Working on her silver award and would like to construct a sound garden for Schaefer Park, which is just a thing that has different stuff on it. It makes it sound, I can't really tell you what it is. I haven't seen it. She's supposed to give us pictures of it, drawings of it, but it was approved. But we would like to see what it looks like. It's called a sound garden. It has chimes, that kind of stuff on it for little kids to play with. Makes noise. We're actually going to talk about putting it down by the police department, so you all have to visit that. Park Board tentatively approved the project until more information is available. Unfinished business, under the rule number 5, it should say class 1, class 2 e-bikes, standard scooters are allowed in the park. Eliminate number 19, which is, I don't know what that's what that was. Put information on some smaller signs at specific locations around the park. Handicap requests, citizen requests. A lady who has a handicapped person that lives down here, just off Park, asked if she could bring the handicapped person into the park using a golf cart. We've talked about, with the police and, we told them, no, you can't do that. You can't drive the golf cart on the road, public roads, you know. But we did talk to 3 nonprofits about contacting to help her obtain a motorized wheelchair for the residents. So we're keeping it open. You know, we're not gonna be ogres about this stuff. We're just gonna try to make it easier for her. One is promising that she was given the resident. Yeah, one is promising was given the resident contact information, which one of the people said that they would do.
I talked to her, I put her in contact with the one agency, and I gave her, so if it didn't work out, there's a second agency that we can apply for a grant for her.
Oh, thank you
I
very
think
much.
it's gonna work out.
Oh, good, thank you. Dog park grant application, there's no update. We was talking about expanding the dog park back. So that would be nice. Tree board update, there was no update. Schaefer Park treasure hunt, there was no update on that. Everybody's favorite disc golf, there was no update on that. Certificate of appreciation, there's no update on that. Independence Day celebration recap, everything went well, the park was packed, the food was good, the fireworks were beautiful. There you go. Concert update, concerts are successful, well attended. Movie update, July movie Goat was rained out, but it was shown on July 25th, and I think there was about 60 to 80 people there. New business wildlife habitat enhancement pilot program. 4 members met with members of this program. It was decided to partner with them to obtain a chimney swift tower for Schaefer Park. And if you want to know what a chimney swift is, it's the birds that fly around. They fly around. They look like bats. Daytime bats. That's what they look like. And the only place they will roost at night is in chimneys. So we were going to put a small chimney down there for them to roost in. The tower will be monitored, will be provided by the program. And meeting was adjourned at 7:50, and we always have a meeting 3rd Wednesday here at 7 o'clock. So if you have any complaints, come in. We'd like to see you all.
Anybody have any questions of Councilmember Weaver?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You mentioned the dog park. Fencing on the dog park is horrible.
We have
Is that going to be
that's
done?
one of the things too. That's why I said the dog park grant application, we have no update on that.
The previous update before that meeting, though, we haven't heard anything for 2 months now.
2 months
is
now.
It was ranked, out of all the projects the county saw, it was ranked at the top. So now it just goes on to the funder for their review and approval, but if we were at the top, we'll most likely get it. And the funding is to not only replace the fence, but more than double the size of the dog park and to put a dividing fence, so there's a small dog park and a big dog. For small dogs and big dogs is what I mean.
But right now, the fence is
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
useless.
We know.
We had 2 huskies.
Yeah, we already know. We've been up.
Well, our dog was attacked because we had 2 huskies leave the dog park under the fencing and attack my dog. So, I mean, that just, luckily my husband was able to yank him up, but I mean, if 2 huskies can go under, then it's obvious that it needs help.
Craig, is there anything we can do with this?
Unfortunately, when you guys had me build that, it was temporary.
I know, it was temporary.
So I bought that hard plastic dog fence that you cannot rip with your hands. I don't care what people say. The kids are actually taking knives and they're cutting. They're cutting it down, and sometimes you gotta keep the inmates off of it. They get down there, they hit it with weed eaters, and we're constantly down there repairing it. So if it would have been permanent, I would have put steel fencing up. But you guys want me temporary, so.
Yeah, until we get the grant.
I wasn't blaming,
I know. I'm just telling you,
It's a problem.
they kind of thinking how I built it. This is the first time they've ever heard how I built the place.
Yeah, he actually put it up because we've been talking about it forever, and we didn't get one, and we kind of put something up so we would start. to
It is
work
actually
and
dog.
try to get
It is dog fencing that is in there, that's what it's made.
Peggy, do you think that we should close it off? That was a freak accident or?
No, I've heard it, no.
So
If
we
you
should
walk
close
around
it
the
off
bottom,
maybe?
there's so many places that it can go through. And it's just, I mean, but a husky going under it, you gotta think about how big that hole is. 2 huskies were able to get out of the dog park fencing. Can someone just look at it and reattach something?
That's what,
Okay.
that's what Craig's been doing. Craig has been patching it up, and
Okay.
according to him, all the little fellas, all our big kids are going around cutting it up.
Okay.
I would say, put a camera down.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna hear from the Boothborough Utilities Commission, Councilmember Wade.
Yeah, I've got a couple things. Our next meeting, we're gonna give a prioritized list on the things that we need to get done in the next year. It involves Cristview and Kinsey Heights and Route 34 backup power for the water pump. Because if that goes bad, we will have a problem with the sewer. Number 2, Crestview has got all their hose in, and the 12-inch auxiliary hose is going to your house tomorrow.
Congratulations.
And we hope to get this done by Christmas or before it freezes.
Let's
There
go
you go,
before, let's go before we freeze.
Let's go before it freezes.
So I got one other thing. It's been 20 years since we've been looking at leaks. I got another question. Who here remembers the Boonesboro-Smithburg State Championship game in South High?
I do.
What was Smithburg yelling? We got water.
We got water, you don't.
Yeah, that's what you do. And it was the whole game. So,
Yep.
so I put that back about 1992. We've had a water problem. Well, tomorrow, after 20 years of searching, even Albert Brown couldn't find it. And the last 5 years, with probably 4 different chairs, tomorrow it's going to be open. Somebody might even try to go swimming in it.
I don't think so.
It's not going to be me.
I know.
Okay.
So what do we
Ricky.
tell
We do have cameras up there, so.
You won't see
We have
much.
cameras up there.
Anything else, sir?
That's
It's
it.
dump tank.
Anybody have any questions of
It's a dump tank.
Dave from the Boonesboro Utilities Commission?
No, thank you, Dave.
All right, moving on to the Planning Commission. That's my commission, and we did not meet last week, so that's gonna be a quick one. Next, we have the Economic Development Commission, Councilmember Hanson.
Yes, we have not met since June 24th. Our next meeting is going to be this month on the 26th. Couple of announcements due in May. One, I'm gonna ask for the commission to make an appointment to fill a position. As everybody knows, Terry Packard has left. Natoma is now the chairperson, and we'd like to fill the position with Kayla Scuderi. She's the branch manager of the Middletown Valley Bank.
What's the name?
Her name is Kayla, Kaela. And I'll poke on phonics, so I'm gonna go Scuderi.
So we have an appointment from the EDC to appoint Kayla from Middletown Valley Bank.
There you go.
On the, as the chair?
Yeah.
And
Just
just
like
a-
that.
and just as a
Member
member
of that's a 3-year.
So do I have a motion for that appointment? Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Everybody ready to vote on the appointment of Kayla to the EDC by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My
Anything
files
else?
were correct, that is a correct spelling.
Okay. Anything else, Randy?
I'm gonna actually ask Ken to make a quick announcement here. We have hired a Main Street manager. Ken, you wanna?
Oh, yes, we hired a Main Street manager, officially last week. It is Avery Scoville. She will be working part-time, starting Monday, this coming Monday, the 17th. She will have a temporary cubicle upstairs here on the second floor, until we work something out with the museum.
But yeah, by the way, you're getting a neighbor next week.
All right, by me.
Clarify, she's not a town employee, she's a town alliance.
She's the one you have to warn, not me.
Right, yeah. Is that everything?
Yeah.
And I just want to qualify, as Mary Lee was just stating, that this is a Main Street manager that is a part-time employee that has nothing to do with the town of Boonesborough. She has been hired by the Boonesborough Town Alliance, and she is their responsibility. We apparently agreed to house her
Because we
temporarily.
are in an MOU with the BTA that we will provide in-kind services. And
Yes.
this will be one of those services
Until-
that we're providing on the space until they have. a permit.
Just right, and we're working on a permanent
Just to make
office
it clear.
space down the street now, so when that's complete, we'll move out of town.
The town is not paying her.
The town is not paying for anything.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the Environmental Commission, Councilmember Small.
We have the minutes of the last meeting. Next meeting is August 19th.
We don't have the whole.
Yeah, good for library.
Well, that's the whole lease. I'm sorry.
Well, wait.
I'm tired.
It's okay. So then, yeah, the next one was in September. The key takeaway of the last meeting was they needed.
What was it?
They need mulch at the butterfly garden there by the pumpkin.
So if you
Excellent meeting.
You can donate mulch. We'll take your donation.
Excellent report. It's down there, Mr. Small, Councilor as well. The bags of mulch.
You were on vacation, I told them that.
If we have no further business for the town of Boonesborough, if somebody can make a motion.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming, because it is nice to have public comment, and we do really appreciate it. If you don't think we agree with everything we said, we actually, I did.
Okay, I have one comment, yes.
Without being invasive, can we know how Mayor Long is doing?
I can't tell you that, that's couple, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so Mayor Long had a fall, and he had some bangs up, some bruises. He actually attended National Night Out.
Okay.
I think he's just feeling a little bit under the weather tonight, and that's the only reason he's not here. I expect him back in full capacity here soon.
I'm sure since he popped his head real good, he's still under,
Protocol?
Can't drive.
Probably concussion protocol, yeah.
because he had a headache.
Okay,
So, yeah, he's
Thank
doing
you.
great.
Okay, okay. We just heard he fell and I didn't know the severity of it. Would be interesting.
Anything else? Does somebody make a motion to adjourn? All right.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for your input. Thank you for being a part of the town, and come back again.